So for me, I was very afraid because I was wondering, what is God doing? Because I think these things should be done with passes. Later is when I understood. It's like God was calling us from these very strange areas so that we don't get consumed with the culture of the church.
The unqualified.
Yes. And I remember music became a very good entry. Now that's when the ministry for preaching began.
Okay, so who are you doing missions with?
I used to do with a guy called Ken Gomeri. I used to do, there's another guy who was also called Rafian and Ruyang. So these guys will just invite me as an artist. It's not like I was in any unit, but they'll just call me and say, Niajeti, come. And, just come and be a blessing. Those guys had almost all the schools. Like the major schools and all that. But I discovered like there are meetings I will go to, and sometimes the pastor is late. Unasikia ni aje sufungwe hiyo meeting, alafu mimi nitakam kesho. So that's how the preaching now began. And any time before, because the culture was even back in the days, before you do a song, you give like a small bio. Like I wrote this song, this is a scripture, and you find your preaching. So for me, the preaching extended and the singing reduced. Then I discovered after the preaching, especially now when you share how you wrote Finje Finje, people come and they feel, Maze, that's my life. And so you discover you have a lot of follow-up. So I came to realize then the preaching was more powerful than the singing. Akina system unit waka come on board, akina Lemba, akina DJ Mo. And so, of course, we got absorbed, but I didn't have an independent unit that I was working with. I was just available.
Did you feature in the system unit song?
No.
It was, but you and Kevo Youth did a song?
Yes.
When at Kevo Youth?
Yes, we did a song. We also did a mixtape with Samukat, now later.
Oh, but Samukat comes later.
Because Samukat now comes later after I've cleared the number.
Yeah, because you have a lot of songs with Samukat.
Yeah, we did a whole mixtape called The Apostle Meets the Prophet. It was a whole Bible study.
Okay.
So that's how the mutation began into high school missions. Hanging out with Googs, again, you end up becoming more of a preacher than a singer.
Yes.
Because now Googs had seen what music can do in the secular world and was so much on fire, feeling music is good. Because there are places tulikuwa tunaenda, anakuambia imba. Una perform, ana preach, unasikia kumwambia Buddha imba. Lakini for him, I think he was more burdened with preaching than singing. And I think even those who are mentoring us felt, this generation doesn't have a voice. So we took advantage now of that. Then I reached a place, God gave me very serious instructions. He said, never charge for a concert. And for your music, never commercialize it. Don't go to a gig thinking of sales. That was after Safaricom Live. When I went for that Kenya Live and something, I remember there's a place we sat with some secular artists. And they came and said, you know what, mi squeeze here, nipige show moja ya 100,000 kuliko to 2020. Now in my mind something is getting in my mind and ananiambia boss, ando wasi unafaa ku hang out now. Na kitu ikaniambia, by the way, tutushu unaendanga tu 2,000, 5,000, hata mimi, show moja, kuliko hizi za ufala. And I remember immediately after that concert, someone called me in very remote village, an ECK church. And I told them, niaje come na 15K come. Wait, that was on Thursday. On Friday, I woke up without my voice. The Lord told me, you are so useless without your voice. And I repented. He said, never place a price tag. When I went there, in that concert, guess who I meet? My Nanjenga.
So you went?
Yes. On Sunday, I didn't
the same one which you had said, Bila?
Yes.
After your voice goes?
After it goes, but I repent, I told them I'm coming. I didn't even ask them how much they will pay. I went. And then I met my Najenga, Citizen TV. And I got an interview in Citizen. And that time, Citizen was major. So the Lord told me, there are areas you go not for money, but for blessings, networks, and something greater than money. Now that changed my view. Then as I continue, a certain guy comes and tells me, you're so big in Meru. You just take some time, let's go and sell music in Meru. And I go, there's a guy who used to print for me CDs called Doma. Alikuwa Melmax. Nikamwambia 1,000 CDs nipe budget. And per CD ilikuwanga I think 30 bob. So I pay him 30,000. I even take an advance. And I get my car. Najaza ma CD nyuma nimeenda Meru soko. So this guy, when we landed, apparently, you're supposed to go in a school, ask for an opportunity, sing, then sell music. The first school we went to, I sold 3 CDs. Nikaingia lodging ya 200 na mimi nikakula breakfast. The second school the same. Literally, I think I sold less than 30 CDs. Because the next school is when I sold many CDs. It was 10. And that 1,000 was enough to fuel my car and bring me back. And now I was left with almost 970 CDs. Mungu akaniambia, I never called you for sales, I called you for souls. Now, people used to get born again and I would give them CDs. That's why I counted for souls. I would give them for free. And we looked foolish. I remember the time I was in a car and guys were counting money to the tunes of 60,000 of what they have sold. Na sio God amekwambia usikaiuza. So the circumcision began early because ministry is a burden. So unashindwa mazee, God, you have the abilities, yet huwezi kill show. You can mutate on this side. And sometimes you go as a preacher, you preach for 1 hour and you're given 500. Someone sings for 10 minutes na amepeana mic and is given 20,000. Unashindwa, I think I need to be in the singing. And the Lord tells you, this is where the impact is. So the circumcision was real.
So now this time you're feeling you're being called more towards the preaching side.
Now the preaching side. So
first of all, wacha nikwambia, I relate sana with what you're saying. I remember my second album was the first Kenyan album that was put free download. Because God told me the same thing. Your CD is your CV.
Wow.
So don't charge people for the music. And I was like, it was countercultural, but I saw the fruits. But at this time for your life, are you feeling? Are you seeing the gift of the speaking?
Of course.
In terms of God using you in that sense.
I was seeing it, but it's not something I was anticipating. That thing of even being called a pastor, it was not in me. Me, I was, let's just have this conscious talk. Like you guys, drugs, EV, let me share my story. That point of just, you see so many guys and you just share your story, pray for them, agree with them, and then go. And then the next thing you meet someone, you blessed me, God. Because me, I never thought I'll even preach or become it was not until say I'm in my training ground. There is no background of a person in our home. No one that I could say I've looked up to. We are just fresh from campus. Even still in campus, we get opportunities, we share our stories, preach what you've been studying during the week. You don't know even if you're preaching or you're just sharing. And then guys are blessed and you're like, okay, what is blessing you? Kuna mapasi hapa hivi, we just came to share. That point of, just being real. So my mutation was not at it strategically. Mine was, God is the one who knew the end goal. But for us, we're just doing what we were led by the Spirit to do, not with anything. And we were very comfortable being rappers. This thing of upasi, hata nilikuwa na shout sana nasema, I never miss his kwa pasi. Music is my red carpet to glorify Jesus. That's all I knew.
So are you still in school at this time?
Yeah, I was still in school. In fact, to a point I was using now my help to go and evangelize. Because now there is a pasi who held my hand, was called Pastor Jeff Gishuki. And used to take me to schools and used to be very radical and very funny. Kwa sema, wewe pastor, wewe nataka nikitoa pepo hapa na unatoa hapa. Unarap kidogo hizo mavitu zako, sijui unasemanga nini, lakini ikifika nikutoa pepo, mimi natoa hapa. So Pastor Jeff is the one who introduced me to high school ministry. And I saw how much he was committed, even with his own resources, to see that he's preaching to the high schoolers. So once in a while, he'll tell me, go and talk to the Form 1s, go and talk to the Form 2s. And that now ushered me to a lot of high school missions. And then now some schools will now call me and say, last time you're such a blessing, can you come for this Sunday? So you just go for a Sunday just in response. Because even you didn't know you had impact. You were just passing by. So you go back, you share, people get born again. I remember there's this school I went to, and they were so disappointed that I was preaching. I think the former guy was an artist, and it was a girls' school. So they wanted the hype and the energy. And I was there preaching and saying, God never changes. It's the same yesterday, today, and forever. And a girl got an asthma attack, and they all looked at me. So I walked down the pulpit, not even in faith. I went and I said, Lord, don't embarrass me. Everybody is waiting to see if you're the same. I laid my hands, and that thing died instantly.
What?
Nikirudi kwa pulpit nilikuwa nauliza viwete. Are there cripples here? My faith was that. And I think that for me was the confirmation. It's not your ability. I'm always with you. And I tell you, there was such a change. There's a time also I went to a school.
And all these schools you're going to while you are still in uni?
I'm still in uni.
Okay.
So weekends I'll go preach. Then Monday to Friday I'm in class.
Is there any other thing you're doing to earn money?
No. I was using my help.
What?
Yeah. The resources I had is what I was using. And sometimes there are schools I will go to.
They want to kupatia honorarium.
There's a honorarium. I go dhao mbili dhao moja, but it's a lot for student. There's a school I went to inaitwa Kenyan girls. And I just felt, I told them I have my music here. Anyone wants to be a blessing, you can buy. They bought 100 CDs. Hiyo day nilikuwa naona nimeomoka. Ukienda chuo za maboy wa buying CD.
Ni kweli.
Unasikianga buda hata mi rap. Ebu sikia hii. So I remember in the height of Mungiki.
Yes.
I was invited in a school where half of the school was in Mungiki.
What?
Yes. And the teacher gave me warning and said, please don't talk about those people. Hapa Kiambu. Netoka huho, boys. The school was in bad shape by that time. Kuingia chuo, Mungu ananipa message sijai preach. Ambia go and talk between the difference between a circumcised man and an uncircumcised man.
Wow.
A kehe and a man.
Yes.
And I get on the pulpit with all boldness. Halfway the message, stima zikapotea. Nikajua leo kichwa kwa post. But the funniest thing, when the lights went off, is like the hearts were open. Because nilikuwa nasikia maboy akisema endelea. So I spoke. I don't know how many, because now nilikuwa na torch hivi. So mi sioni wasi. Mi naona unajua tu ananiona. I don't know how many people got born again, but when I left that school, headmaster alikuta kwa mlango, tobacco imewekwa, those things that we're using. Some of the things they were using to initiate zilikuwa hapo kwa mlango.
Wow.
And the school changed up to date. I still go there. And there's a young man today, is a member in church. Aliokoka kwa hiyo meeting. And today is one of my leading missioners.
You're crazy.
So now I began to see this thing is not just preaching. This thing is powerful. Sometimes we'll go to a school and after 3 days unasikia the school changed. 360. Like teachers are just calling you. And things are happening. So I realized, wow, this thing is beyond. But again, I was afraid because something is telling me you're not a pastor. So, there's that part you are like, this is my office, I can work. So for me, I was very afraid because I was wondering, what is God doing? Because I think these things should be done with passes. Later is when I understood. It's like God was calling us from these very strange areas so that we don't get consumed with the culture of the church.
The unqualified.
Yes. So because there's a church culture that sometimes hinders the move of God. So some of us had to come as rappers so that we are not caught up with this culture. And we just preach knowing si ati ni kitu ilikuwa na budako au madhako. It's just God selecting you by divine selection and giving you a responsibility. Up to now, I still struggle with that name pastor. Because personally, I just feel God gives me the word to share to the people. That's period. It's only now that now you're running a church. Me hata kuvaa masuti na nini, I'm still learning. Yeah, it's still an art I'm learning.
Hey, it's so funny to hear you say that because babu siku hizi nakuona na hizo masuti. I'm like, hey, Pastor T's got the pastor suit.
Ni vile sasa church watu wamekuja, mixed congregation.
No, I understand it.
And the psychology is pastor anavaanga suti.
Hiyo suti kali. Anyway, so I don't want to negate the impact you and Samukat had.
Yes.
That you guys, that mix between dancehall and rap was uncharted ground.
Yes.
We had not seen it before.
That's wrong.
But let's talk about the transition from then university.
Okay, so music picks up, and I think it took quite a toll of my time.